It's just part of growing up and growing older. Like, the older you get, the more you realize how many paths you won't get to follow. Which is kind of a bummer of a realization. Like,
we all die.
Like, so much of me wants to live a life of being a surf bum and live in Hawaii, and part of me wants to live in New York City and work on making feature films. And there's so many scenarios and places you'll visit and go to where it's like, oh man, I really want to go down this path. But doing that would mean just like deleting everything else I got going for me right now.
Yeah.
So we're all gonna die, and you can't do everything. So good luck picking one.
So make a R5C review.
We're all gonna die anyway, so you should probably just make a gear channel.
Disturbing the peace with some peace of mind. Sleeping in jeans, I'ma need a night. OD on the cheap advice. OC on the cheapest flight. Lately I've been on the move trying to get to something, but I told her I've been running.
Welcome back to Friends with Benedicts, Breakfast Around the World. I'm not gonna lie. Denver looks pretty terrible when you just returned from New York City.
Yeah.
It kind of...
You know, it's got its own charm. You got...
Don't try to backpedal on me now.
You got H&M. I think, I don't even know.
We do have better skate parks than New York City, for sure.
You reckon? I mean, we only went to one.
Yeah. There's surprisingly not that many, and we just have way bigger, better ones here.
I mean, the whole city is a skate park, though, in New York City.
That's true. That's true.
More street spots, I guess. But, I mean, we do have, like, some of the best skate parks I've ever been to. I always think that. Like, I'm always like... Except maybe California. California has amazing skate parks.
Mm-hmm. True. Should we just make this the New York City episode, since we just...
I reckon we should start there. I think
just got back.
That's a good place to start. Yeah, so for context, we just got back from New York City. Why did we go to New York City? Well, it's because I thought we had to use our travel credits before December 31st. Turns out we had a whole nother year to use those travel credits. But I was like, we got to do something. And so Jake wanted to go to New York City. He keeps talking about it like it's just the best. And I was highly skeptical. And New York City was not at all my top pick. I really want to try going to like Seattle or Portland because I've never been there. But since I knew I wouldn't be able to get Jake to go to Seattle or Portland.
I was going to say, I didn't even know you wanted to go to those places.
Oh, dude. I want to go to I don't know. Just in general, I want to go to the Oregon coast because I haven't seen it. But so anyway, I said, hey, Jake, want to go to New York City? He said, yeah. And I said, what are we going to do in New York City? He said, we can ride the subway and eat pizza. And that is what we did for 5 days straight.
Yeah, it's weird because you were like, I can't remember the conversation. I might have even been talking to you about moving there because I've wanted to move to New York City for quite a while now. And I was trying to talk you into it. And you were like, okay, let's pretend we do move there. What are we going to do? And my answer is literally, I don't know, like ride the subway, eat pizza, and...
And when I first heard that, I was like, that sounds like the worst. And then, I kid you not, I mean, we did more, I guess we did more than that, but predominantly that's most of what we did in New York City. And I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, there's just like, it's hard to explain. Like, while we were there, we just called it getting sucked into the black hole or sucked into the void. Because, like, if you don't have a plan of exactly what you want to do that day, you just go out and something's gonna happen. And usually it starts with like getting on the subway to go somewhere, grabbing a piece of pizza, but then you'll randomly be sitting in the train and this guy will start tap dancing to his buddy playing the saxophone, and then you go out and you wander around a few blocks and you end up doing some street fingerboarding. It's just like endlessly inspiring wherever you go.
It is. And I think the thing that was most shocking about it, something I'd heard before that I didn't know was real, was you just literally do not care what you do there. Like, usually, especially in like Gunnison or Denver. I'll use Gunnison for an example because the town is so small. I feel like I know everyone. And if I don't know someone, there's a chance I'm going to eventually know them. It's just a matter of time. So you're kind of cautious about the way you carry yourself. It's like you don't want to be a kook. You don't. It's like someone's going to be like, oh, I know you. You're the guy that was X, Y, or Z. And you want X, Y, or Z to be something good. You don't want it to be, you're the guy that threw the basketball in the semi-truck and broke the window or something like that. That's a wild example. But but New York City, you could throw all the basketballs and all the semis you want, and it just doesn't matter. Like Jake said at one point, you're just never the weirdest person. No matter where you are, there's always someone in the crowd weirder than you. So you could just get away with anything. Yeah. And you just turn your brain off. You don't even think like, oh, there's people watching me. It's just like filming in public, no problem. Talking to a camera in public, no problem. Like, it's just easy.
Yeah, like, people always say, I feel like when people are trying to encourage you to do your own thing and, you know, be you and be weird, the reasoning is always like, you know, nobody actually cares what you're doing. And, like, while I do think that's true, like you just said, even in Denver, which is, like, supposedly a big city, it's just pretty inevitable that you run into people you know, and there's not that many people doing crazy wacky stuff.
Yeah, whereas that's really true.
Like New York City, you just feel completely anonymous, and you feel like you're part of this giant machine that, like, if you're doing something weird, all you're doing is like brightening someone else's day because they're like, well, I saw something interesting along with the other 20 interesting things I saw that day, but like no one truly cares at all.
Yeah, I think it's true. And, you know, at this point, I feel like I've known you long enough to know Jake in his comfort zone and Jake outside his comfort zone, you know? And for the most part, it's the same person. But there is that thing, like, we've traveled and been in parts of like Germany or Austria or Switzerland where both of us are like very much outside of our comfort zone, and doing anything that's going to attract attention at all is like not on the table. But New York City, I feel like as soon as we got off the plane, it was like Jake's in his comfort zone, and it was so fun to basically go from off the plane to back on the plane. And both of us, I mean, I wasn't so much in my comfort zone, but just being around someone that like gets it, you know, has been there before and understands the whole vibe and everything was just so fun because, yeah, I feel like I got more footage the first day of being in New York City than I have in like a week of being in another country. So it's a cool place.
Yeah, it was really interesting. There's so many factors for filming a video and like figuring out what you need. And I feel like comfort zone is such a massive part of that. Like when we're making our videos for Fox suspension mountain bike videos, the videos just continue to get better and better the more comfortable you are with the characters that you're filming. But there's for sure that like there's also the atmosphere element where even if we're filming our character who we're very comfortable with, if we're in a public setting and everyone feels a little uncomfortable, it changes it. And so to me, this New York City trip was so ideal because like you said, I'm comfortable in New York City. I just feel free and anonymous. And then I was filming with you, who I'm the most comfortable filming with because we're so on the same page. And I feel like I had 3 different videos in my head, and it was just this rapid fire filming session where, yeah, we were kind of just collecting stuff the whole time. But maybe it'd be interesting to talk about like your approach to making videos in a scenario like this, because I don't think you had any videos in mind, did you? Were you just kind of filming whatever?
No, and even, I mean, since I've been back, I've gone over a bunch of footage we got there. And, you know, it's all, like, I feel like this is the case when I'm at this point in the process basically all the time. But at this point, I'm looking back over all the arbitrary footage, and I'm like, there's nothing here. I'm not going to be able to make a video out of this. So I don't know. It's hard at this stage in the process to answer that question because right now I'm at the phase where I'm like, maybe I won't even have anything. But there's so much footage. It's like there's something about having like enough options that makes it like, oh no, I'll be able to come up with something. And we also had a little companion on our trip. My little sister came. And she is like an extension of me. Like we're basically the exact, we're basically the exact same person, and we think the exact same way. And so it's sweet because even since we got back, Bailey's been like, "Hey, remember that thing where we were shooting like at this place?" She's like, "Maybe you could tie that to like this." Like I kid you not, today she has sent me 2 different texts just about different ideas, and so I have my idea monkey working hard to figure out
awesome.
where the video's gonna go.
Well, I was gonna say, I was just thinking about her being there was such a valuable add to our filming process, because I feel like if it was just you and me, we would have skewed more towards the like beautiful shots. We would have skewed a lot towards like basically getting cinematic B-roll. Yep. But having your sister there, she was always the one who would be first to pull out her iPhone and film us when we're just like laughing at something stupid, or like she was getting those organic moments, and that kind of put my head into that mode of like, oh yeah, I'm not just here to film pretty moments from our trip. I'm here to film us and our experience. And so that was a really good element and good reminder having her there of like, oh yeah, we should actually be documenting the fun we're having, not just filming pretty stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's really good at the little details, you know, like she's all about the tiny little details. Like her favorite thing on the whole trip was the rats in the subway system. She got a tattoo of a rat in New York City because she liked the subway rats so much.
Yeah.
Which actually, I mean, well, you go first because I was about to change the subject.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, like, again, that's what made it such a joy to travel with you guys, because both of you just appreciate the smallest, simplest, most fun things, where it would be so easy, and I think a lot of people do go to New York and say like, oh my god, it takes 45 minutes to go anywhere because you have to transfer on the subway, and there's trash everywhere, and there's rats, and sometimes the subway's crowded and you got to be squished up against a sweaty person. Like there's so many things that you could say it's miserable, but instead like like you choose to like intentionally squish your sister on the subway, you know, joking that it's crowded, and she thinks the rats are awesome. And I don't know, like it's just all about perspective. Like
yeah, it's true. And actually, I think since this video is not going to go up anytime soon,
yeah,
I might as well just tell you the idea that I've kind of landed on more or less because of that exact same thing. So originally, the video that I sort of had in the back of my head, especially on like the last half of the trip, was kind of like maybe the antithesis or maybe the cons of minimalism, because New York City is the opposite of minimalist. It's like there's so much going on, and that's what makes it cool. It's not the lack of, out here where I live, it's the lack of things that makes it cool. In New York City, it's the excess that makes it so interesting. And so it was, originally I was like maybe doing a video contrasting those things, but now I'm thinking of doing a video that's maybe called something like How to Love Anything, or How to Change Your Mind, or something along those lines. Because I went into the whole thing truly expecting to hate it. But then it's like once you just are like, okay, we're here for the next 5 days, like I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna go on the subway, and I'm gonna choose to sit next to a stranger, and I'm gonna, it's like the immersion side of things is like you can really learn to love it. I really believe like you don't have to be so, at least for me, I'm talking to myself, you don't have to be so set in your ways that you can't appreciate those things, but it only comes when I suppose it's like maybe a practice of like empathy, being like, okay, like people like this. I know there are people out there that like this. Like, I'm gonna put myself in their shoes and try and see all those little things as best I can. And Baylor's really good at that, of course. But I'm thinking of switching my video idea now to basically be like, you can change your mind about things. You can be me and live in a small town and hate cities and still go to New York and still decide you're gonna have a good time. It doesn't have to be this whole, I'm a country boy, I'm a city person. It's like, there's pros and cons to everything,
Yeah, totally. How do you get a video out of that when you just filmed an entire trip not really knowing what you're making a video about? Like, how do you make that happen?
Yeah.
To become a video?
Well, I mean, I could probably go off on that, I suppose.
If you want to.
Oh, man, I'm happy to. First, do you have any sort of, like...
Yeah, I figured it might be interesting just because, like I said, I went into that trip with like 3 ideas. And one of the ideas was roughly titled Embrace Your Kook or Embrace Your Cringe. Basically, like, whatever you love, some people are going to think is cool, some people are going to think is stupid. So stop worrying about being cringe and just like go for it. That's the general concept of the video, so that made it easy for me to think in my head, okay, I'm gonna get shots of us fingerboarding because that's the dumbest thing ever, but you and I think it's so cool. And then,
you already know this, but I may or may not have just ordered an $140 fingerboard.
That made me so happy because that just was like, all right, now I got permission to order an expensive fingerboard.
I know. I was like, I'm not gonna order this and not tell Jake, because if I don't tell him, I'll feel like an idiot for doing it. Only Jake will give me like the validation I need.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, we got into fingerboarding really fast somehow, but now I'm invested on it. My entire Christmas list, like my family asks for Christmas ideas, I just added fingerboard ramps and fingerboard wheels and trucks to my list.
Yes. Yeah, I've made more progress the last 2 days since we got back from New York.
Really?
Maybe I've made big progress. Yeah, my kickflips are coming along.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, sorry, what were you saying about your video idea? This can't be a fingerboard podcast, Jake.
It could
I know
be.
both of us. Well, I know both of us want that.
I've actually got mine right here. Oh yeah, nice.
Okay, you think you could do a kickflip first,
I was talking about. Oh yeah, I can. Stomped it.
Did you get it on camera?
No, I didn't get on camera. Here we go.
Mine's on camera.
First try. Shoot on with the pressure. Oh, there we go. Stomped it.
I got one try.
Nice. You got it.
Oh, I blew it, dude.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's close.
You get 3 tries. You got to do 3 tries.
Dude, I can't. The pressure. My second try was close.
The pressure makes a difference.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So for audio listeners, we both stomped it.
We both stomped it. Yeah, so anyway, along the lines of loving things that are not cool at all, but we think is cool. What was I talking about?
Embracing your kook in your video idea and shooting.
Yeah. Oh, so I also, if anyone remembers Soap's shoes from like the early 2000s, I was thinking about making some of my own for that video. And if you don't know what they are, they're basically just shoes with a plastic plate right under the arch of your foot, a really hard plastic plate, so that you can grind on rails and ledges. And I was gonna make some of my own.
I know it doesn't sound cool, but it's not.
I know it doesn't sound cool, and it is absolutely not cool. But I was gonna make some of my own for this video, and then on Black Friday, I found this brand called Epic Grind Shoes. So I bought some Epic Grind shoes that I packed alongside my fingerboard for our trip to New York City, and honestly had the best time of my life. Epic grind shoeing and fingerboarding around New York City.
It was so good.
But the point is, I had that in my head, which made it easy for me to kind of have a mission of what to film. Like, okay, I need fingerboard shots, I need epic grind shoe shots, and basically just us having fun doing it to support the theme of the video. But then that kind of lent itself to then we would just stumble upon different circumstances, like this really, really cool market under a train next to a coffee shop where these people were making things by hand and like selling really unique things. And so that was like, oh, now I can ask Shaffer about what makes something cool. Like, why do we think this market is so cool and what these people are doing is so cool? So the video idea kind of evolves while we're there, but then I know that after the fact, it's just going to rely heavily on voiceover and me kind of telling the story in post. Like, that's just become, I think, both of our method, and it's just, to me, it's so much easier than trying to do the vlog style, like, record the whole video at once. Like, that just doesn't work for me. It's so much better for me to do voiceover after the fact and kind of tell the story concisely then. So yeah,
I mean,
that's my process.
I feel like we've talked about this sort of a little bit before, but like, I think that's both of our process, and I don't necessarily know if it's the filmmaker's choice. You know, if you're making a movie or a documentary, you don't shoot half the footage first and then go, okay, how does this fit together? But for the structure of the style of video, it works. In my opinion, like you're saying, I agree with you so much better than doing the vlog thing, because you have an opportunity to kind of think about, first off, you can go back through all the shots and you can look at it and be like, okay, what do these actually mean lined up next to each other? Because the whole point of doing a trip like this is to get stuff you didn't expect to get. You know, it's not like we went out to New York City with a shot list.
Yeah.
Roughly, you have like these broad ideas, but it's not like you're like, okay, we need exterior wide of the, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm a big supporter, and I think you're right in saying that's both of our sort of tactics. I think the only difference, or maybe not difference, but the thing that I really enjoy doing, which may actually be derivative of snowboard movies, is like the gimmick. Like the old Ice and Seven snowboard movies, they had, every part would have some sort of like theme or B story, or like my favorite one, I can't pronounce the snowboarder's name, so I'm not even going to try. But his part was essentially, they made an action figure of him and they put it in a box, and the whole thing was like an ad to sell this action figure. So his part was like this like ad, you know? And so it was like this whole gimmick, and the gimmick was the main thing, and then all the B-roll of all the snowboarding on all the epic shots were like sort of just like sprinkled on top. So for my videos, I always try and think of like what the gimmick is. So like for the last one I did, the creativity one, the gimmick was the park, like the playground, and how the playground is sort of this miniaturized, whatever it is, like diorama of the idea that I'm sort of like coming up with. It's like sort of a metaphor, and it's also sort of just like this scaled down, digestible version of what I'm trying to say. And then the one before that was my well, I made the IRS puppet letter and the mountaineering, and essentially it was like this visual storytelling element that ties the broader idea into the B-roll that's sprinkled on top. And sometimes I think that's as easy as just, going back over and doing voiceover, and sometimes it's like, I don't know. I think that for me is the most fun thing, because that's the part where it's like, okay, I have all this random footage. What can I plan now? You know? Yeah. That pulls it all together.
And so that's usually like the last thing you'll film is that.
It depends. It depends on the video. Yeah. like 2 videos ago, the I don't even remember which one that was. There's the creativity one, and then there was the one with the freaking fear one. The fear one I planned before I shot.
Okay.
Like the gimmick, I guess. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I guess the moral of the story is you have options. You know, it's not necessarily like you have to vlog, and it's not necessarily you can't vlog, because a lot of stuff we did in New York City too. There were moments where both of us would do like a vloggy thing that was sort of like a just in case. I don't know. It's pretty arbitrary. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, this makes no sense.
No, yeah. I think it's never going to be, well, for YouTube, it's just never going to be linear. And I don't know, it's always so helpful to hear how other people approach it, because it just feels like such a tangled mess. And I was just talking to Cody Warner, because I filmed with Cody, I don't know, months ago, and just could not figure out a video out of the footage we got. And so I texted him, I was like, dude, I'm so sorry that I haven't made anything from our footage. Like, I just can't figure it out. And he was like, dude, don't be sorry at all. It feels like a miracle anytime a video is made. Like, I forget what he said, but the way he said it was perfect. He was like, we work in magic, and it's an absolute miracle that any video gets made. And it's true.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so true, because every time you get barely started into a project, it's like, this is so convoluted and messy. I have no idea how this is going to work. This is impossible. And then you finally figure it out, and it feels like it takes all of the energy you have, and you're just like, oh my God, I made it work, and I don't know how. There's no way I can do that again.
Yeah. I know, that's the real feeling that I don't think I'll ever be able to do this again. It's like that feeling never ever goes away. But we talked about this in the last episode, but man, I'm just such a huge advocate for just taking a break and just putting it away for a while and living your life and taking inspiration from just like, I don't know, some show you watch or some video you see or whatever. It helps so much. Sometimes you just feel like you have to have all these and like insane ideas and connections, and sometimes all you really have to do is just see one little piece of one little thing that's just like unlocks everything. But I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't work too. I can't tell you how many videos I've abandoned. I've probably abandoned a whole channel worth of videos.
Yeah, totally. I'm definitely sitting on a bunch of abandoned ones right now, like higher than ever, but there's always a few that just stay in the graveyard.
Yeah, that's okay. Everyone dies.
That's true. Yep. Well, unfortunately, I don't even have a notebook today. So I got nothing.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I got nothing but a fingerboard and a cup of coffee in front of me.
Dang, well I feel like we just lost. I feel like I fell off a ship and someone threw me a life preserver and it popped.
I know, man. I won't let it happen again, I promise.
That notebook. Well, I mean, maybe once in a while I'll come up with something. We can always rely on the classics, because I have Shaffer's pick of the week.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Shaffer's pick of the week.
Yeah,
Cue the theme song.
Shaffer's pick of the week. Shaffer's pick of the week.
Theme song. That was great. I'm trying to remember what they're called. Oh, the one is called Osmosis. And
Osmosis
it's
Jones?
Nope. It's not Osmosis Jones. That would be big. I'm sure if I watched it again, it would be a pick of the week.
That probably would inspire you in some wild way.
That probably would. But no, this is super relevant, actually. I mean, Osmosis Jones is always relevant, but this is super relevant. I found it. I was catching up on the Vimeo staff picks I missed out on while we were in New York City, and while we were there, they posted one called Osmosis, which is a short. I guess it's sort of a short documentary, maybe more of just like a short video about the. So we went to the Met for one thing. We went to the Met Art Museum, which is really cool. But this video is about the Met Art Museum's security guards. and how a lot of them either through being around some of the best art on the planet have either became security guards at the Met because they're artists, or they've become artists because they're security guards at the Met.
Whoa.
And it's so
really
sick. I just sent it to Bailey and she's like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Whoa.
Yeah, it is very, very cool. And so they talk about, how their job is way more than just being a security guard. It's like preserving, some of the most important art on the planet. And then also how it's just being around it every day, you can't not be influenced by it, which is why the title Osmosis is so cool.
Yeah. So there was people that never considered themselves an artist or really dabbled in it, but by being a security guard there, they like got into making art.
Well, it's not really a documentary. It's way more of like an edit, I suppose. So they don't go super in depth, but they highlight these security guards that are artists.
Okay.
And whether that came first or second doesn't really matter. It's just sort of the idea of being around art like this, how it impacts your life and your creativity. And
gotcha.
It makes you want to be a security guard at the Met. It's really cool. It is really cool.
Wow.
Such a cool idea too, because we walked by 30 of those people while we were there, and they all have this whole backstory. And that's something about filmmaking that's so cool, is like we can be there for the same reason that the people that made this video were there and completely skip by an entire storyline. Like neither of us would ever have thought to make that video,
Yeah.
And you just walk by, which is another reason New York City is cool, because I feel like you're walking by stories like that just all the time, and they're just ready to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, and I mean, again, just to continue my my love of New York City, like there's just such a big percentage of people there with massive dreams. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with people that are just content with their job and chilling in Denver, Colorado. And there's a lot of that in Denver, Colorado. And it's great. There's people that just like, they're like, yep, I got a good job, I'm chilling, it's fine. But in a place like New York City, where it's so expensive and so like just difficult on you in so many ways, like people just have massive dreams there. So like you said, that story is everywhere. And to me, it seems like from a filmmaking standpoint, you asked so many random strangers if you could film them, like for some questions, and everyone seemed so down. And I'm not exactly sure why, but they just seemed, I don't know, they seemed more down than I would have expected.
Well, it just seems like everyone's like, that's what they're there for. They're there for like finding the right person, the right opportunity, whatever it is that, maybe propels their dreams into be something that can keep the lights on instead of something that they're just grinding to like make work on the side.
Yeah.
It does seem like a common sort of theme, and it's cool to be around because it is easy to get complacent when you're in a place that's sort of the status quo. Is the idea is you get a job that allows you to be complacent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, like you said, there's certainly nothing wrong with it, but I do think there is a demographic of people where that is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Just like having no job security for a lot of other people is a nightmare. Like what for what we do with no insurance and no like whatever X, Y, and Z, the cons outweigh the pros 100 to 1.
Yeah.
But for a lot of other people, it's totally the opposite.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, that's my backstory, which I've shared like on and off at different times. But yeah, for me, it was like I had that job security and consistency, and it was a nightmare for me because I needed the unknown and the just like massive variety in my life way more than I needed the consistency and security. But dude, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you always want what you don't have to, because we're also always both just like, I wish it felt like a job sometimes.
I know. I know, right? That's like why that's a big reason we're like, we should make the podcast feel like a job. We record it once a week at the same time. Yeah, it's totally true. The grass is definitely always greener. Absolutely. Yeah. I was actually going to make a video called I Miss My 9 to 5. Like, it's fun. I wouldn't change my current job situation for the world, but there is absolutely things I miss about that consistency. Yeah. So, but yeah, dude, that osmosis thing is so good and so tangible in your own life when you're trying to be creative. Because if I get in a hole where all I'm watching is like gear reviews and tutorials and like things that aren't creative, they're just practical. Mm-hmm. I just have so little creativity or ability to make anything interesting. And right now, after a week of being around just different types of people and art at the Met and street performers and all this, I feel like I'm just exploding with inspiration right now. Like, all I can think about is how excited I am to come up with ideas and edit and stuff. Like, and that's why I love Shaffer's Pick of the Week so much, is because it's so important to have that flow of interesting art in your life.
Yeah, it goes along, I suppose, as well with the title and the theme of osmosis, but I just think you sort of, it's not always true, but I think to an extent, you sort of are what you consume, you know? If you're going to be consuming way crazy outside the box stuff all the time, you're not going to make the same gear review videos as everyone else. You're just not.
Yeah.
And it reflects in the views too, you know what I mean? Like, whether it be a gear review, like gear reviews get a crazy amount of views, that's because a crazy amount of people watch them, but that cannot be all you watch. Like, go find these things that have 20,000 views. 20,000 views is the sweet spot, dude.
Yeah.
If something has 20,000 views, that is a good sign that it's, in my world anyway, I find that as being like, okay, this is weeded out the general consumption. And I'm going to have to think about, it's not always true, but a lot of times on Vimeo, especially, if you find a 20,000 viewer on Vimeo, it's probably solid gold.
Man. Yeah. And God, and as someone who makes stuff on YouTube, what a reassuring thought that is as well. Like, if you're trying to make creative, unique, special things, you're not going to be like 1 million view per video channel. I'm pretty sure I've brought it up in the past, but it's just like when you find that band that not many people know about that just speaks to you and is like everything to you, and you don't want it to be like known by everyone, and it probably won't ever be. Like, there's something so amazing about that. I don't know.
It is, and you, as the creative person, get the opportunity to choose who you want to be. And you can change it too, you know? It's like, do I want to be the person where I show up to this because I do gear reviews and I get a lot of views from it and I make money from it and it's my job and that's what I do. It's like, you get to choose if you want to be that, or do I want to live a hard life, not get views, like very rarely have projects that pay, but make something that like might mean something maybe ideally a little deeper to somebody. And you don't have to be one or the other, but it's fun. You know, it's fun that you get the opportunity to say, like, you know, this one, you said this to me years and years and years ago. You're like, at the time you were saying the strategy now, and I think, I don't remember, someone told this to you too, but the strategy is, you know, make one for you and then make one for them. Mm-hmm. And at the time that was like your YouTube strategy, which is such a cool idea. It's like you get to choose to do it. I think now I'm at a phase where I'm going to be like, I'm making this one for me and this one for me and the next one's for me and the next one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I ripped that off from Sarah Dietschy way back. But yeah, and for me, I really find comfort in that, because like right now I just made How to Film Yourself, which is 100% like for the viewer. Like I don't get that much enjoyment out of making a video like that. And before that I made a fog machine review, which which was...
I think that was more for you. Soap shoes guy.
A little bit for me, for sure. But at the same time, you know, it was like a recommendation, hopefully something that someone can watch and be like, oh, cool, that's this element that I needed. Or maybe it just answers a question for the viewer. But now that I've made both of those, I'm like, man, next video is just all about me. Like, I don't care if it's clickable or anything. I'm just gonna make something that I like really, really love. And I know this is the case for both of us. I don't know what the mass feeling is on YouTube, but for us, it's like, if you don't make those videos that just you really like and you feel good about, you'll just start to hate your entire channel. Like I'll just start to feel gross about my channel if it's nothing but videos for the audience. I gotta make stuff that I'm genuinely proud of and care about.
Well, dude, you're so much more of a, I feel like you're so much more of a generous filmmaker in that sense, because you'll actually do it. I made the one what's in my bag review, and it sent me into a spiral. And that's the last one, dude. That'll be my last helpful video.
Man. Yeah, it's weird. I don't even... Sometimes it feels generous, and sometimes it just feels like a... like playing to the statistics, you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's a combination of like, I know this will help people, and sometimes it's like, this will get a lot of views, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's weird because there is a part of me that appreciates that side of things, because I actually, you know this, I love talking about camera gear, and I love talking about, especially in our niche, I love talking about the drama, and I love all the things that would make up a good channel. Like in the past, I've talked about making a channel that's strictly just like either like tutorials or commentary or whatever. But so I know there's a part of me that like cares about that sort of thing, but do I want that to be like, and like I said, this is where it's cool you get to choose, because for me it's like, do I want that to be any part of my public image? Not really. But I still want to talk about it, which is where the membership thing has been so cool. It's because like, I like talking about this. I know the intention isn't I'm trying to get a bunch of views from it, but I still have the opportunity to be like, this is cool, this isn't cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm probably shooting myself in the foot by not making those thoughts public, but it's just like, I don't know, why am I doing this? You know, am I doing this because I want to be famous? No. Am I doing this because, I mean, it would be nice to be able to make a living. But honestly, that's not even the highest bullet point for me. You know, the highest bullet point for me is to have something to look back on and be proud of. And sometimes if you get sucked way too much into the analytics, then you'll spend I'm on year 9. You'll spend 9 years of it and not have anything on your channel that you're able to look back on and be like, I am proud of that.
Yeah.
Even though it has 200 views, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I don't know, you know, it's like that's where I'm at now, but it changes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes so much effort and mental energy to make those videos you really care about. You just couldn't, like, I don't know, it would be impossible to do both. Sometimes it feels like I don't know, like
that's where I'm at. I just feel like I can't.
Yeah, and I suppose that's why people build teams around themselves, and that would, you know, that would help and be awesome, but that's not really how my brain works yet. Maybe someday. But yeah, there's also just that weird realization. We were talking about this in New York as well. I think it's just part of growing up and growing older. Like, the older you get, the more you realize how many paths you won't get to follow, which is kind of a bummer of a realization. Like,
we all die.
like so much of me wants to live a life of being just a surf bum and live in Hawaii, and part of me wants to like live in New York City and work on making feature films, and part of me, that's about it. Those are my only 2 dreams.
Pick one.
But no, yeah, like there's so many scenarios and places you'll visit and go to where it's like, oh man, I really want to go down this path. But doing that would mean just like deleting everything else I got going for me right now.
Yeah.
So that's Jake's downer thought of the week.
Oh no.
We're all gonna die, and you can't do everything. So good luck picking one.
So make a R5C review.
We're all gonna die anyway, so you should probably just make a gear channel.
Well, dude, actually, let me tell you a story, okay?
Ooh, okay.
So my story starts when I was a junior in high school, at the peak of my unicycle career. For those of you who don't know,
This is bright purple skinny pants chafe.
I used to wear bright purple skinny jeans, and I used to be really good at unicycling. The videos don't exist, don't look for them. But
they exist.
some of them. Oh my god. Not for long. But
no. Dude, okay, side note. I was on a Google dive of you one time.
Oh no.
And I found like a unicycle blog or something that had your video posted, and I was like, yes, I found it. But then I clicked on it and the link said this video is private. So
yes,
you hid it somehow, but I was
boom
stoked that at least the thumbnail was there.
Yeah, maybe someday. Maybe I'll put those on my membership. That would be actually hilarious. Actually.
You should put those on your membership.
Yeah, dang, that's actually a good idea. Anyway,
wow, if you want to see
cringe.
Shaffer's
no,
pro unicycle vid, just join his channel on YouTube because he's gonna post those on his channel membership.
Dude, as soon as I thought about telling this story, I was like, Jake's gonna get all on the unicycle thing, and that's gonna be.
And it's only $2 a month. $2 a month, you can watch Shaffer.
$3 a month.
You know, $3 a month, you can watch Shaffer.
Maybe I'll have a $10 uni tier.
Yeah, and they get a special unicycle sticker.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'll think about it. Anyway, so yeah, it's a whole thing. But I was really good at unicycling. Anyway, when I was senior in high school, I went to Madison, Wisconsin for the NAUCC, North American Unicycle Championship and Competition.
Wow.
And it's like the nationals, you know? And there's this guy, I don't think he still rides unicycles anymore, but his name is Max Schultz. And he's just the best. I mean, he's the GOAT. He's the Greg Menard of unicycling. He's the Peter McKinnon of unicycling. He's the best.
Wow.
And he's just like so good. His videos still. If you want to watch some good unicycling, look up Max Schulze Schultz. He's so good. Anyway, or he was so good. Anyway, there was the big competition, right? The big finals, and I, at the time, was just like, all I wanted to be was Max Schultz. He's the hero. I was like, someday I'll be Max Schultz. And, obviously he wins. He's the best in the world. And he gets up, and he's going to, like, take they have these big medals, right? He gets his medal, and I don't remember if he had a backpack or something. And as soon as he gets it, he sort of, like, puts it in his backpack, does the handshake, takes the picture, and then is kind of just like chilling there. And everyone else has their like silver medal and their bronze medal, and they're like doing this whole thing. And Max is like stoking these guys up, you know? He's like, yeah, good job, that was awesome, that was super fun. And he didn't have his medal around his neck, he just had it like in his pocket or something. And I remember when I was there, I was like, why isn't he living this up? Like, this is my dream. I want to be the guy on the top podium, you know?
Yeah.
But Max has been doing it long enough to know that it's like, he didn't love winning medals. He just loved riding unicycles, you know? That was just what he was there to do from the very beginning. And you can be on the other end of that and not be as good as he is and be like, well, if you have all the skill, you might as well like relish in the fact that you've done all this work and you're the best and like whatever. But then I think once you get to the point where you're the best, it just doesn't even matter because you have lived a life of loving something that you've been spending tons of time do it. You know, like you dedicated a life to something you loved, and it's corny, but like that's the prize. That's the gold medal.
Yeah.
You know? And the closer I get, I feel like, to making I still don't think I'm there, but I think the closer I get to making the kind of videos I want at the quality I want to make them at, it's like the prize of the subscribers and the views and all that sort of thing, like, truly doesn't matter to me. And I've said that in the past, and I've meant it less than I mean now. Like, it truly doesn't matter to me, because we got to go to New York City.
Yeah.
And we just got to hang out and skate and fingerboard and soap shoot. And it was like, you could put 400 million views on that, and it's not the same as going and doing it. It never will be.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, it's such a classic, like, the cliche is it's the journey, not the destination. But you tell it with a story like that, and it just fires you up, because it just puts it in such a beautiful perspective, which...
Yeah, so it's hard to convince yourself that that's the truth, you know? Mm-hmm. But I feel like this year I've really just realized, like, I have enough, whatever, subscribers, whatever. I have enough to enjoy it. Yeah. And so that's the goal. Dude. It's just, how can I maximize the enjoyment I get out of this crazy, weird hobby or career, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and it's like that. You want to play the long game, and it's so easy on the internet to feel like you're always playing the short game, and stuff is changing so fast. You got to capitalize it while you can before your house of cards collapses. But like, the truth is, it is a long game, and the things that might get you success in the short term of doing some stupid dance that goes viral, what good is that going to do you for the long term, versus if you have this consistent portfolio of things that you're proud of and care about and have spent like years and years and years of your life refining. That's going to give you longevity. Like, that's not a house of cards anymore. Like, there's always going to be opportunity that arises from that, and maybe the opportunity's not YouTube. Whoa, my power just went out.
That's wild.
Oh, man. Oh, I think it's coming back. Yeah. Wow.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. Yeah. My train of thought is gone.
Dude, I hope you don't. I don't know. That was spooky.
Yeah. Whatever I was saying probably wasn't important. What is important to say is unicycling, epic grind shoes, fingerboarding, and snow skating. Rank them coolest to least cool.
Oh my god. Let me really quickly finish one more thought I had on that thing we were talking about earlier. Okay. With Max Schultz on the podium. I feel like right now I'm not saying I'm the best or anything, right? But I do feel like I have an idea of why Max put the medal in his back pocket when he won the thing, right? I feel like I've gotten that. But he was also being like so supportive to the people around him. Like, truly not just doing it to like look good, like truly building them up. And I feel like that's the part I have to learn next. And I feel like that's something you're better at than me, is being like, you know what, I've been given this amazing position. I'm going to take what I know and like give it to other people. And I'm so selfish. I'm like, I don't want to fucking do that. Anyway, God. So that's what I have to learn next. But
man, that's just insane to hear you say, because like from the moment I met you, you've just been like a hype man. Like, it's awesome. Like, even
I'm a fan. I'm a true fan of your stuff. It's rare that I'm a true fan of people's stuff.
Man, well, yeah, I think you're better at that than you think, because you've hyped me up even when I've made some goofy stuff.
Nah, dude, no, I'm a true fan, that's for sure.
Yeah, but man, I mean, that's just, God, what a better way to live your life, because even if you do make it to the top, like, you always know it's not gonna last forever. So what's gonna be more fun, to just like try to gloat and claim that you're the best, or to just always be stoked on doing the thing you love with other people. Like, whether you're on top or not, like, that's just going to feel so much better always.
You know what the other perfect example of this is? PewDiePie just getting passed by Mr. Beast.
Yeah, and making a book review.
Yes. And the whole point of the book review being, like, you can be satisfied no matter what you do or don't have.
Yeah. And
it had nothing to do with, like, tearing down Mr. Beast. It was just, like, only positive.
Totally.
And it was just, so good.
And, like, the entire rise of Mr. Beast, PewDiePie's just been, like, he's awesome, he's killing it. Like, they've had such a, you know, cool relationship. Because you can tell neither of them care about the subscribers. Like, Mr. Beast thinks what Pewds is doing is awesome, and vice versa. And so
if PewDiePie had a meltdown and it was like, we're doing subscribe to PewDiePie 2.0, it would look so much. It would not
have gotten
look good.
Sad fast. Yeah,
it really would have. And instead, he just took it in stride. He just acknowledged he does this because he loves it, and then reviewed a book. And it was the best. It was the best thing he could have possibly done.
Totally. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That was a. There's these certain, like, monumental moments in YouTube history, and that feels like one of them for sure.
It really does.
Pewds you always see people. Review.
You always see people in these situations, especially when people have to apologize, and you just think, like, well, man, if they had only, like, X, Y, or Z, then, like, it would have all been okay. And I feel like this is one of those things where PewDiePie could have very easily just made this so bad for himself. But instead, he was ahead of the curve and was like, he did exactly the right thing to do, which is just be mature, acknowledge it, and then just keep loving it through and through.
Totally.
Which is super cool. But anyway,
back to ranking unicycle versus snow skaters.
Yeah.
Wait, is that where we're going, or did you have another thought? Was that the big thought?
That's where I was going. I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Unless you had anything else you wanted to add. No ghosts this time.
I don't think so. No ghosts. Other than, like, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while,
God damn it,
you just might miss it.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that. This week alone, I'd have $10, bro. It's true, though. That's a good point, Jake. Very profound. You should write that down.
Yeah. No one's ever said it or heard it before.
Yeah, definitely not. As for the ranking, I think I can easily put... So we got soap shoes, snow skate, fingerboard, unicycle.
Yeah.
Do you want me to start at the top or the bottom? Because I have my top and bottom, like, sorted. Actually, I think I have my whole list. I think I have my whole list sorted. Okay.
Yeah, start at the bottom, move to the top.
The bottom is unicycling. The bottom is absolutely unicycling. And the reason is because it just is.
Oh man, I didn't realize how great this was, because already by you saying the bottom is unicycling, that means you think epic grind shoes are cooler than... Wow. Okay, this is great.
All right. So, okay, let me put it this way. Unicycle is not practical at all. Not in any way. It's not a good means of transportation. You can't coast. It's as good as walking. It's not convenient because stuff breaks all the time. Like, to carry it around, like, you can't transport it. There's no unicycle racks for cars.
Yeah.
It's just not very convenient.
There's people who ride mountain bike trails on unicycles. Jordy said there's a guy in Santa Cruz that rides a unicycle on the mountain bike trails.
Believe me, I know all about that. The handle position of the unicycle is just not the greatest spot. It's just not. It's not the coolest looking thing you could do. Yeah. Anyway, unicycles bottom. I don't even need to. I feel like we could probably even get on the same page about that. And I think the reason soap shoes is above unicycle is because of the practicality factor.
Yeah.
Because we were walking around New York City and Jake was going and doing all these tricks and grinds and having a blast. Take the visual coolness out of the thing. It just looked like fun, and he was having more fun than I was on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and that's the thing that. So I've been talking about these shoes for like a year at this point, Because Shaffer and I will be walking around some city in Europe, and I'll see a perfect rail and be like, see, if you had those shoes, you could just be walking through your day, hit this rail, and then keep going along with your day. And now that I got them, it lived up to my expectation. You can just wear the shoes all day and then have fun at any moment you want.
Well, I tried them on, and I had an impromptu 15-minute sesh that was supposed to just be me trying them for like a second because they're so fun. So, yeah, I mean, soap shoes are way too fun to not be at least second from the bottom.
So what is second from the bottom?
No, that is second from the bottom. So third
soap
from
shoes?
the bottom. Yeah, so unicycle soap shoes.
Oh, okay. So you are raking soap shoes next. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I put fingerboard above soap shoes because again, it's same sort of vein. Like there's the practicality. You can just keep it in your pocket anytime you're waiting for food, waiting for, like we did it on the subway, we did it in the streets, we did it in a bar. You can just do it anywhere. It always fits in your pocket. And so that makes them equal. But the thing that puts finger skate above soap shoes is craftsmanship. Okay? So the ones we've been using are sick, but they're also just kind of like, they're just toys.
Yeah. Which is saying something, because these are $25 when a tech deck costs like $3.
Yeah. But the one I ordered is handmade, hand-pressed. The top sheet has the guy's signature in it.
Wow.
It's got cast urethane wheel. It's like a pocket. The same reason people like pocket knives, like all pocket knives do the same thing. But the craftsmanship that goes into some pocket knives makes them so much cooler. You know? The fact that they're designed and hand engraved and all this sort of thing. It's like there's so much just like, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
And finger skateboard, you have the fun, the practicality, and it's like, there's the craftsmanship level.
Yeah. The craftsmanship level and like, I don't like, maybe I sound really dumb saying this, but when you watch someone who's really good at fingerboarding, I'll like the goofiness of it kind of disappears for me, and I legitimately am just like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like legitimately just impressed by it. Like I
feel the same way, and maybe that's because we're in too deep.
Yeah, we might be. We're fully sucked into the illusion, but
when you see like there's a very big difference between kid with tech deck finger half pipe and someone doing a nollie heel flip front Smith.
Yeah, and it's usually like this 250-pound tatted up guy, like they just seem like a cool person, and then they're just casually doing nollie heel flip nose grinds on a fingerboard.
Yeah, my favorite fingerboard video is Fingers of Steel, and it's a freaking bodybuilder that's doing it. And it's so sick, and it puts a smile on people's face too. I feel like when you see someone that's like throwing down on a finger skateboard, you're like, all right, my man.
Yeah.
No one's like, fuck that guy.
Man, seriously, we were, just like a quick side note story, we were going to a comedy show in New York, and we were there a little early, so we go into this bar to grab a drink, and we're sitting there with Bob Ross playing on a TV right next to a football game, and beneath that, Shaffer and I are playing, no, we weren't playing a game of skate, we were ollying up the menu and grinding the drink menu at the bar. And the point is, if I walked into that bar and saw that happening at a table, I would immediately start talking to those people.
Right? I know. Well, I was talking to my old roommate, Josh Hirschman. I was like, imagine the day where you kickflip over a girl's drink and there's your future wife.
Yeah.
Now, do you think fingerboarding is lame?
Man, I think I just realized why we don't have any other friends.
I know. Well, dude, I was just yeah, you're exactly right. Because I was thinking about like EDC, you know? I feel like maybe it's going through a little bit of it used to be really cool. I feel like it's less cool now.
Yeah.
But EDC, it was like, you just love, like, people would have just little, like, little tweezers, like a nice pair of tweezers. And it's not like you can use a pair of tweezers every single day. It was cool because it was like handmade and sturdy and durable, and it fit in your pocket. It's like that, but like the ultimate. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
Pocket knives aren't nearly this fun.
Dude,
and it has
seriously.
the same appeal as a pocket knife. I think.
I might start a fingerboard Instagram page.
I think that would be a good idea.
All right. I got to get a lot better, but I think I'm going to do it.
No, progress reports.
Yeah, progress reports.
Those blow up. I still suck.
Dude, new life dream. Become a pro fingerboarder.
Fingerboard influencer.
Yeah.
Dude,
all you need is like 1,000 followers because the fingerboard world is so small. If you get 1,000 people watching your fingerboard, you're basically a pro fingerboarder.
I know. I got my sick new fingerboard from one of the biggest fingerboard pages I've ever seen. It had 25,000 followers.
Wow.
Which is like huge for fingerboard. But it's only a matter of time, dude. We're on the bleeding edge. I'll tell you what.
Remember that part of the show earlier where you said we can't become a fingerboard podcast? And now we've been talking about it for like 15 minutes straight.
They're so sick, dude. Oh my god, they're so sick. I'm not even kidding. They're so cool. I spent $140 on a new one and I didn't blink. Dude, I'm like stoked.
That made me so happy when I saw that because, yeah, I basically would just be alone in the world if you weren't into fingerboarding. And now I have someone to support this ridiculous habit.
Well, thank you for getting me into it because I feel like it's just going to open up a whole world of enjoyment and pleasure for me.
Hell yeah. Well, hit me with...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but that leaves one more spot on the list.
Hit me with the number one.
And the number one is definitely snow skating for me. Reason being, it's not with your fingers.
Yeah. It takes... actual. Oh, that's interesting though because out of all the ones before, like unicycling takes the most actual skill. Like it's
no, I know it's the craftsmanship, dude.
Yeah.
The craftsmanship is just
it's just interesting that unicycling takes so much skill and dedication and all of that, and it still is so lame. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have snow skating, which also takes a bunch of skill and dedication, and it's the coolest one.
Well, let me be clear, though. It's not snow skating, the one with the ski on the bottom that people do at resorts. I think that's the dumbest thing ever. I really don't. I don't know why. Every time I see one of those snow skates, I'm like, you idiot.
Well, especially at a resort, because all you're doing is using a way less useful tool. Like, we've already invented the two greatest methods for going down a mountain at a resort.
Exactly.
Why are you standing on this useless contraption that makes you way slower and just stupid?
Yeah, which I guess you could use all those exact same arguments against POW surfing, which is like one of the coolest things I can even think of. POW surfing is so cool. My battery has 1%, so if this cuts out,
oh yeah,
you know what? Maybe I
need to get a haircut soon.
Okay, well, let me just say, snow skating is the best because board sports are the coolest things in the world. Surfing's the coolest. Snowboarding's second coolest. Skateboarding's third. Surfing, skateboarding, snowboarding. And snow skating is just like residual from the coolness of those things. And,
it just flows well.
Doing a kickflip, dude. One of my buddy Dom said, if you can do a kickflip and a backflip, you're fucking set. That's what he says.
Yes.
That's all you need to know how to do. Yeah.
That's a motto to live by.
It is, and that really is his motto, and I agree by that. And so if you can kickflip a snow skate, so it wins by default.
I love it. Learn to kickflip, learn to backflip, and you're good.
You're set. Oh, my battery's dying. Thanks, everybody.
Perfect. Thanks for tuning in to another Friends with Benedicts. See you soon. Oh, ready? One more kickflip.
Oh, okay.
First try. Oh, that one was beautiful.
Oh, mine was so bad.
Midair catch and everything.
God, dude, I was doing so good up until I'm on camera. Oh, I got one who's scheduled.
Disturbing the peace,
Nice.
peace of mind.
All right, perfect.
Sleeping in jeans, I'ma need a night.
Bye.
OD on the cheap advice. OC on the cheapest flight. Lately I've been on the move trying to get to something. But I told her I've been running just to see the sights, see the lights, and they're not my types who would chill with a brother if his ice all white, but it's not.